Most businesses throw away leads that absolutely are worth millions of dollars for you. And I'm going to show you exactly how I made my client 1.28 million in 8 months on autopilot with this AI booking strategy. And the reason is that if you sell info products and you already have leads and you're already making some money, this is absolutely guaranteed to work for you, because I've done this multiple times for multiple people, and I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do in order to implement this on your business. So I'm going to show you on which step of the funnel we're going to be setting it up, this system. I'm going to show you the track record in terms of how much are we generating per month, with part of these results being the actual system that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to show you the core concept of scaling your business, and then I'm going to show you the exact reactivation breakdown, the exact software that I use, the exact workflows that we have, and also the overall investment, how much it cost, and everything along those lines. So with that being said, if you don't know me, my name is Antonio Montero. I've helped multiple clients scale their info product businesses by installing AI sales systems. I'm not going to go to your business to create an end workflow that talks about how to do marketing stuff. I'm going to build AI sales systems that are going to increase the leverage of your sales reps, potentially replace some of them, and increase your profits. And the way that we're going to do this is we need to understand what it takes to scale. I'm not talking about 100K a month here. I'm talking about 5 million a month, 6 million a month. If you think that you're just going to be able to get to this level being simple, you can. But if you confuse yourself with being simple and being simplistic, what's going to happen is you're going to do simple things by being simplistic, and you're not going to be able to scale, because you can't scale to these levels without implementing this strategy that I'm going to share with you, and without having a lot of the things that I'm being sharing in my channel here as well. So with that being said, what we're going to be focusing on here is the process to get people that have already booked a call with you, that they no show, that they cancel, that they submitted a form, they opted in, everybody that it's on your funnel basically and didn't buy and is just sitting there in your CRM. And we're going to build a system that it's going to recycle these leads until we get a yes or no. And that's what I'm breaking down, is the exact booking strategies that turn 18,000 stall leads into $1.28 million in cash. And I'll show you the automation workflows, the psychology behind it, the exact numbers that prove this to work. So the reality is that what most people do, number one, it's they rely on their sales rep and a human setter to do the follow-ups. And then what happens is typically the traditional follow-up that they do is shitty. It's not very good. And the sales reps, they get let go. And the leads that they used to have, they typically don't get properly reassigned. These leads go cold and money walks away on the door. But this AI changes everything. It never sleeps, it never gets tired, and it converts at scale. So here's the database reactivation framework that I'm going to share with you. And the foundation is very, very simple, guys. We've identified the leads that have gone silent. And the way we're going to do this is in GoHighLevel, right? The way that you have your funnel over here is that for you to build a massive acquisition system, you need to have a specific lead generation mechanisms, mid-funnel optimization systems, and a solid delivery process. And by mid-funnel optimization systems, you need to have something for somebody. And what I mean by that is that some people, they're just not going to convert looking at your YouTube channel or looking at your Instagram. They need to receive some emails. They need to receive a phone call. They need to be part of a community in order to convert. And your job as an entrepreneur is to focus on enhancing and amplifying not only the quality, but the quantity of conversion mechanisms that you have in your business, right? And the way we're going to do this, at least in this circumstance here, what we're going to be focusing on is this stage of the funnel here where all these people came in. You may just have like a content creation, they go to your DMs and that's it. Or content creation, they go to your VSL, they opt in, and then they submit a form, they book a call and all that stuff. But there's in almost every single funnel a list of leads that we're not targeting, either because they are unqualified, or because they had a call and they didn't buy, or because they canceled their appointment, they no show, and again, they show and didn't buy. And that's where we're going to make the money. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get these leads over here. There's a follow up sequence, and we're always going to transfer them back to get them on a call. And by doing that, I don't mean just sending boring as SMS messages like you receive every single day from amateurs, where it's like clearly a templated message. It's going to be human, it's going to be real, and it's always going to lead to a yes or no. We don't want to send messages that is just a broadcast. We want to make sure that we're sending targeted messages that make sense for the customer. And just a quick track record. If you don't know me, my name is Antonio Montero. I've scaled multiple businesses to $1 million a month. I don't have as many clients because having scaling to 5 million a month, it's a lot of work, man. So I'd rather have one client where we scale from 0 to 150 million in 3 years than a bunch of 100K clients. But that is it. That is just an overview of how many closers we manage per month. That is some of our funnel conversion metrics, some of our booking rate metrics, some of how much cash we're generating on a weekly basis. And the core concept behind everything that we're going to discuss is this process here. This is the process for growth in a business. You need to have automation technology. Forget about AI, NAN, all that stuff. This is going to be so basic in the next year that it's just going to become something where in your job interview, you don't ask somebody if they know how to log in on Zoom, if they know how to use email and a smartphone, right? Because you assume they already know. That is the same thing for AI. AI is the amplifier of all technologies, and we leverage automation and technology to make sure that everybody in our team is highly leveraged. And it doesn't matter how good of an automation you have if you don't have good quality leadership and good quality people in your team. So you need a combination of competent people and smart processes and automation and technologies. And the least amount of systems that you have and the more manual and slow is your data, the less likely you'll be to grow, because you need immediate feedback. You need immediate iteration loops in order to grow. And your growth, it's also going to be attributed to your total addressable market, right? Because you can have everything like this, but if you're selling newspapers, you're doomed. So that is the idea. That is the core concept. So let's go over the reactivation breakdown. And here are the results. We've added 18,818 leads into the system. We booked 3,659 calls. Out of these calls, only 2,699 were net, meaning like a lot of people canceled the appointment. And then out of these 2,700 people, 1,200 showed up, 481 bought, and we've generated $1.28 million pretty much on autopilot. Not a single human was involved in this process after we've implemented the system that I'm going to share with you here. And overall, here's the cost. I'm not adding the ad spend cost here because you got to understand these leads, they were already in the CRM. They were already stalled in the CRM. And this was something that we've implemented across the board in their funnels after we validated with the database reactivation, because you got to understand that these database reactivation leads are the coldest leads. They haven't interacted with your brand like a month ago, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. So their likelihood to convert is incredibly low because they are cold. And if we're able to convert these leads over here, right? And the cold leads, right? With this level of performance, then when we implement this across the funnel as a whole, it's way more likely to generate better results. So how we do this is, first of all, the tools that we used GoHighLevel, normal SMS. It was not iMessage or anything like that. We used a tool called ZappyChat to do these automation systems. And basically we connected a workflow in GoHighLevel that would get all the stale lead opportunities, and basically we would reach out to them. And the reason why we're dripping them into the workflow is so that if you're using one sub account and go high level, your SMS doesn't get suspended. Because if you send too many messages to reactivate your database and your opt-out rate goes above 3%, what's going to happen is your SMS is going to get suspended for 24 hours, and that can hinder your process. So you definitely want to make sure you're dripping leads in order to be able to not impact your overall operations in this database reactivation. But if you're using iMessage or anything along those lines, you don't have to do this. Because it doesn't qualify as a business to business communications, peer to peer communication. But basically, we would assign to the Zappy Chat lead, we would reset the conversation in their backend, and we would send the SMS. And here's the interesting thing, right? Think about how you communicate with a human on SMS. We typically send multiple messages instead of just one, right? We just say, hey, how's it going? Send. I was wondering if you want to go on dinner with me, for example. Send, right? So it's pretty obvious when you receive an automated SMS that it's just that chunk of text that that thing was not written by a normal human. If you write like that, I mean, it's good for you, but that's typically what people wouldn't expect that. So what we do here is we send two SMS to make it more natural, to make it like a human. Obviously, there is an extra cost, but I've shown you the ROI. The ROI is right here. So we netted out of this total amount, we've netted $1 million. So it's almost 80% profit, right? So we send these two SMS and then we wait for a reply. And if they don't reply, basically what happened is we're looping them through a infinite follow-up workflow until they say something, right? So we are pulling information from the CRM, we're creating a customized message, and then we're following up with these leads until they say something. By the time they reply to this, what we're gonna do is we send them to this workflow over here. That in this workflow, typically we just use the reply by SMS, and we change a custom field in the CRM to bot status to yes. So whenever this bot status in the CRM is yes, it's basically activating the bot to speak to the customer, right? Which is a little different with the native Go High Level AI SMS system, because that SMS system, if you activate, it's just gonna go on autopilot for everybody. So we built a custom one that with the custom field, you can just toggle yes or no. So once this customer replies and this field is toggled, what we do is we segment the customer. The reason why we segment the customer is simply because we want to make sure that whenever we are reaching out to these people, we are splitting the lead quality based on the quality of the closer. So what I mean by that is typically what people do in their funnel is they generate a random MQL score, and if the lead is super qualified, it goes to a closer. If they're okay, it goes to a setter, and then if they're like not that good, they don't even book a call. And I think that's not a very good strategy to scale to 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. Because what we do instead is we leverage the fact that some of the leads may not be as qualified, and we take this to our advantage here because we're building the career plan of the closer based on the quality of the lead. So if you're a new closer and you need to get your reps and sets, why would I give you a super qualified lead for you to burn it? You may generate a sale, but your average order value it's going to be much lower than an actual good closer. So what we do is we take this problem and use it to our advantage by generating this segmentation system here that we call tier-based system. So whenever the customer reply based on the qualification mechanisms that we have for this specific account, we either send them to a tier 3, tier 2, or tier 1 bot. Tier 3 being the least qualified lead, that would go to the newest onboarding closers. Tier 2 being the medium one, and tier 1 being the best quality leads. And then whenever they send this message, we also get this workflow set up here. And what this workflow does is whenever the customer reply, it goes to the bot, and then the bot updates the message, updates the reply, and then it updates this tag over here, which sends back the message to the customer, and it replies back on the specific channel that you want them to reply. So basically, it's a very simple setup once it's done, and it won't cost you almost, it costs almost zero, right? And if you look at our average order value, it's actually pretty low compared to standards. It's 2,600. um so if you have an average order value of $8,000, $10,000, you're just gonna print money with this. And I'm telling you, everybody's getting wrong about AI and automation because they think the AI and automation in and of itself it's what's going to be the game changer. But the way that I look at it is there's still the four types of leverage: code, capital, collaborators, um, and content. What AI does, it adds a layer of leverage to these four types of leverage, right? So you don't use AI for the sake of AI. You use AI to create content, you use AI to convert customers, you use AI to write copy. So you're using AI as an amplifier of the four types of leverage. And that's exactly what we're doing here when we build these AI sales systems. And if you implement this in your business, it's just going to take you to the next level. And I highly recommend you do it. Here's just overall all the costs, the sales team overhead, their commissions, the management and operations. We're netting almost like 85% of this total amount. So to recap, what you're going to do is you're going to get your CRM, and you need to create the custom fields required for you to do this. So you need to map when the customer became a lead, when the customer submitted a form, when the customer booked a call, canceled, no show, showed for the appointment, when the customer bought, all those dates. And you're going to use the stale lead notification, the trigger in the opportunity sector in the workflow trigger to start this workflow. And once you start this workflow, you're going to loop them in into a follow-up that it's triggered based on ChatGPT or any sort of AI that you want. And it's just going to loop them through the workflow until you get a reply. That is the key. We send messages to people like uh, throwing spaghetti in the wall. We just send the information, but we're not trying to get a yes or no. And that is the importance of this workflow. If they say no, that is great. But we need to drip them into the workflow as well, so that if they're stopping, if they're opting out, it's not gonna get your account suspended. So you're gonna loop them in until they reply. And once they reply, you're gonna communicate with them, you're gonna talk with them, you're gonna book the appointment. And the bot is gonna take care of everything. The bot is gonna take care of replying to them, the bot is gonna take care of the follow-up. So basically it's just a 4 to 5 workflow process that is just gonna print money for you. And once it's set up, it's just guaranteed to generate you at least 10 to 15% of your current revenue. So if you like this video, you want to learn more about what we do. What we do is basically we help businesses, coaches, entrepreneurs set up sales systems in their operations, and you're going to work directly one-on-one with me. So you can reach out to me on Instagram so we can talk more about it. But if you have any questions about this, that's the only place I go. There's no funnel. There's nothing there yet. You just need to DM me on Instagram, and we can chat about how to implement this on your business.